What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Trip Across the Border. My name's Max. I'm here with Chris, and today we have on 1,000-point scorer in high school and one of only 2 freshmen to make the Elms varsity men's basketball team. We got point guard Jaiden Lopez.
What the fuck?
It's like croutons in a soup.
Don't turn down any opportunity, whether it's a camp, a clinic, because you never know literally who's watching.
Make your own decision and stick with them and know they're the right decisions, right? And even if they aren't right, don't regret them.
He didn't know creatine existed. So he got on some creatine, he's like, oh yeah, lift heavyweight.
Ship across the border. Ship across the border.
Shipped across the border, man.
Welcome back to Shipped Across the Border.
What up, Jay?
What's up? Thank you for having me.
Show. So,
Well, basically, yesterday you had your first,
second.
but like I'm gonna call it your first because like Albertus was a fucking tough beginning game, so I'm gonna call that your first college game. You played pretty well. I watched the whole thing, and one of the things that we talked about in the dorm room after that game was how like he's struggling right now with playing like too wired and too like conscious of what's going on. And when I was watching you played really, really, really unconscious. Like it doesn't look like you give a singular fuck if the first one goes in, if it doesn't go in, whatever. And I'm wondering like, how did you kind of develop that? Like, how do you, and like, you just don't look like you give a fuck out there. Like, you're just hooping.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like that came from high school. Like majority of, well, not even through high school, like the majority of my life, I've always had like the green light per se. So I remember my freshman year in high school, I was kind of in the same spot. And like in practice, like I would overthink and stuff. And like dudes would tell me like, yo, you can hoop, like you belong out here. And I'm like, okay, like, and like as soon as game time hits, like I don't really think about anything. Like I just hoop. Like I know I belong out there. I know I can play out there, and it's kind of like I just think, I just do. I don't think, I just do type thing. And my very first game as a freshman, I started because our starting point guard got hurt, and I had 23 points. Like very first game as a freshman, 23 points, like home opener, like it was all the pressure's on me. Like you got a freshman starting very first game, and just 23 points off the bat. And like I feel like that just kind of is like within me. Like it's just kind of like I don't really have to think because I know I can hoop. I know I belong here. So like why would I overthink and kind of put that pressure on myself if I know that I belong out here and I should be playing?
You see, because I struggled with that the first year at Madai too. Is like, and I still didn't really solve that until like after I kind of quit. But like just the unconscious part of the game, I just never really could figure that out.
I just give too much of a fuck.
Definitely.
Like 100% just give too much of a fuck. If I miss a shot, like I just, not that I'm not going to shoot the next one with the same confidence, but I care too much. I give too much weight to like, I don't know, I just like, just give too much of a fuck just in general about like fucking up, about like just like everything, you know?
And how are you going to fix that?
I don't know, man. We've been working on that. We've been having a lot of conversations because for me, I got a little bit of an opportunity in the first scrimmage. We played a really good team, and I just felt like everything it was really my first college minutes because didn't play last year, or at least didn't play since the last like exhibition game we had versus Damon Amadai. It's like a year basically, which is a long time to go without full speed game rep. Kind of gone in and just I felt like everything was moving so fast around me, and like I was kind of thrown in like in the middle of the second half, so kind of like a lot of stuff has already been developed, and like I haven't shot like it was a scrimmage, so we didn't have like warm ups in the second half, so I was just like cold as shit. Like my muscles were tense, like I was like just like not like freezing up, but like kind of like freezing up, and whatever. I played like pretty poor couple possessions in a row, which didn't lead to pretty few shitty possessions in a row that did not lead to me being very confident in myself, and whatever the rest of the stretch I was out there didn't really do much, and then whatever, got thrown in again at the end and felt more comfortable. I just think I was talking to Addy on the bench, and Addy was like, I know exactly what you mean. Like he said he thinks it's about like 10 minutes of like game time, game reps in order to like feel comfortable and feel hooping again. And I definitely felt like the second time I was thrown in, although my shot still wasn't falling, I was taking good looks and they felt good, they just weren't falling. It is what it is. But I felt more comfortable. And then yesterday in our scrimmage, I got less of an opportunity because I kind of shit the bed in my first opportunity, which is understandable. I'm not gonna be like, fuck whatever, fuck coach, whatever. Like it's 100% my. I wouldn't say it's my fault. I didn't necessarily do anything, but just the situation is like on me. Like I did not perform to the level that I'm capable of, and I know I'm capable of an opportunity. So obviously it makes sense that I would get less of an opportunity in the second game. And even then, like my shot still wasn't falling, but I felt a lot more comfortable. And like TC, I was talking to after the game, he's like, I could tell like when you're out there, you felt more comfortable. Like that shot that you shot that didn't go in, it looked like you shot that comfortably. When as opposed to my first shot I shot versus Albertus, like looked like I shot it uncomfortably.
What was the result of that shot?
Inside the fucking backboard. I actually like shot the ball with my eyes closed basically.
Yeah.
Like actually.
That's the problem some players have. But I wish I could have watched that Albertus game because I didn't get to see your body language in that one. But in the second game, although you looked probably more comfortably than the first game, I still don't think you didn't look as grounded.
Yeah, no, I wasn't walking with that type of swagger that I would be in high school or like in a development game. And he was. That's a trait that it's hard to teach.
That's what I'm saying. And
it's a trait that's hard to teach.
Personally, like with me, like I know when I was on the bench and I see, like, and I see guys that are going in before me that I feel like shouldn't be going in before me and stuff like that. I kind of walk in with like a chip on my shoulder, like yo, fuck these guys. Like I'm gonna show them what the fuck I can do, type thing. And so I'm like, yo, fuck this. So I'm pulling this shit. Like I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna prove to coach like I belong out here. I can fucking hoop. Like. Fuck that freshman shit. Like, forget, like, bro, I don't give a fuck how old I am. I don't give a fuck how small I am. I don't give a shit how little bro you think you can treat me, bro. Like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do what I need to do. And at the end of the day, it's all business.
You definitely did. I think you definitely raised your stock in the last two scrimmages. Like, I think, like 100%. I think you played well. You had a bunch of good moments.
Yeah, and I feel like after, I think I got an and one against Albertus. And, like, before, like, when I originally against Albertus, when I first went in, like, bro, I was on the verge of tears. Like, I'm thinking I'm not going to touch the floor the whole game. And then I get those two turnovers. I'm like, yo, what the fuck am I? Yo, fuck this. Like, let me play my game. Like, I need to stop putting this pressure on myself. I got a chip on my shoulder. Like, fuck this. Like, fuck this freshman shit. Like, let me go and ball out. And I got that layup. And then I got the and one. And once I got the and one, I turned to the bench. And I said something crazy. I don't know if I should say it on the podcast. But
I can cut it. I kind of want to hear it. Just
I said, like that type of shit, like, and I'm busting ass and fucking GV, like that type of shit, and yeah, like once I get going and I get riled up, like even in the practice before the first scrimmage when
you were bugging.
Ian started talking shit to me and started laughing at me because I like smacked the ball out of his hands after the whistle blew, and he started saying shit like. He started laughing. I was like, who is this guy? Is this a freshman? Like, a freshman? Like, who the fuck is this guy? Come on, this guy's a freshman. Are you serious? So then the very next play, I came and I picked his pocket, and he fouled me on a layup. And I looked, and Tay was on the track up top. And I was like, I'm just a fucking freshman. I'm just a fucking freshman, though, right? I guess I'm just a fucking freshman. And then Neil got all hype, and yeah, that was
a few big ones, too.
Yeah.
We beat the...
Yeah, we won. Yeah, and then and as soon as I got going and I got riled up, like once the scrimmage started, I hit back-to-back threes. I hit like 3 free throws. Like I think like 9 or 10 points in the first. In the three, it's a 3 minute. It was a 3 minute scrimmage. I had like 9 points, and just from free throws and hit 2 threes and whatever. So.
I gotta start watching practice, bro.
Fun to practice.
But like I keep hearing these stories. Like this is literally what happens.
I don't remember. I was not paying attention to that part. I guess I don't remember that happening.
This is literally what happens is like they'll go to practice and I'll do my own thing, and then. Ian and Max will both come back, and I'll listen to his side of the story, and then I'll listen to Ian tell a different side of the story, and then it's just like I have to kind of just go with whoever I think is telling the least amount of bullshit.
Which
but
is
like,
usually me because sometimes Ian be chatting.
No, yeah.
A certain amount of
times. I'm like, Ian
But one of the things you just said there, I really like that, and I've been thinking about that a lot lately, is how you said, like, fuck my size, fuck all this shit, like, and you made up for that with your shooting and this mentality of, like, I'm going to go at your throat and I'm going to do whatever I can to make up for the fact that you think just because you're 6'4" and athletic, you can just bully me. And I made a video about this recently. I might upload it, I might not upload it, but what do you think... When do you think did you ever have like the awareness to understand like I can't jump out the gym, I'm not super athletic, I'm not tall or any of this stuff, but I can still hoop at the next level, but I have to make up for it in certain other categories? Did you ever have that moment where you were like, I need to do certain other things?
Yeah. So I think it was around my sophomore year. I want to say my sophomore year because like every hooper has like that delusional NBA dream, D1 dream or whatever. And I was telling my trainer, I was like, I said I want to go D2 or low major D1 as a sophomore. I'm 5'9", 5'8" at the time.
So you haven't
I'm
grown?
fat. I'm chubby. I'm not gonna lie. I was chubby. I was like 160 something.
I don't like how you looked at me. He said fat and he looked right at me. I don't like that.
You're not fat, Joe. but Max, you're fucked up.
I'm playing.
But yeah, I was a little child. I gained 40 pounds during quarantine. Like,
Damn.
I had a buzz cut. Like, I was just.
Put on 40 pounds during quarantine?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I was big, but I was like chubby. Like, I was out of shape.
You weren't hooping this point?
What happened?
You weren't hooping because it was like.
Yeah, no, I would hoop, but like I wasn't doing any sort of cardio conditioning. Like I was just eating and drinking protein shakes and just putting on as much weight as possible. And I gained 40 pounds and like I was a little chubby. So I told my trainer that I wanted to go low major D1, D2, and he had it so that I do it a Revolutions training up in Connecticut, and a couple other trainers there, and they train like D1 guys and like D3 guys, and like there was D3 guys, so he had me play 1-on-1 against the D3 guys.
Fuck you up.
I guarded this D1 guy. He jab step, came down the lane and dunked, and I looked at my trainer and he looked at me. He said, "You said you want to go D1, mind you. This guy goes to a low major. He goes to Central Connecticut. So it's not like a crazy D1. And I said I wanted to go to Syracuse.
That's also not a low major D1, high D2 level, gang.
That's what I'm saying,
ACC
bro.
basketball.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Bro, a lot of these kids out there need to have a moment like that. I wish to God for every kid who wants to go and play college basketball for their sake and just to get humbled that they go out there, find like a D3 run and just go out there and just start running, dude.
Bro,
and
I
just
played
realize
at-
what happens.
In the summer, I played at my local like gym that I usually go to, which is there's a lot of like if we coordinate, it's like a gym you have to get a pass to. But a lot of people, high level hoopers, like have passes there because it's a lot of very good facilities. But it's like everyone's schedule is different. But if we like coordinate a run, we have like pretty high level run of guys who Canadian university guys who played in university or college in Canada, guys like who are playing like in the US D3 or other types of schools and stuff. But one time I went there and I was just like working out, whatever, and there was like a few people playing younger than me. I wanted to just get some game reps and just like fuck around at the end of my workout after I did everything. And I was with one of my boys too, and we started playing. And there's this guy who's like probably like 6'3", pretty athletic, plays at a prep school in Canada, and they're playing. And I already knew, like, whenever I see someone in my gym thinking they're nice.
My gym? What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Because I'm going there and I'm killing everybody in that gym. So if there's someone come in and poses a threat and like thinks he's moving sick, then me and my boy, who's now Alex, who's playing at Algoma, he played with me at my prep school in Ohio, and now he's playing at a Canadian university. Like we would just go and we fucked them up. Like one time, these two workers from the upstairs gym, one was like 6'5", 6'6", and this other like guard, both like 25, asked us to play twos. Or no, they were picking on these like they were playing twos with these like two shitters who I actually like know who they are. Don't play basketball. One of them's fat, like, and they were like busting their ass, and they were like. And then they were doing like through legs layups and like fucking around and like thinking they're sick because they're beating up on these shitters. So we go and play them, and they ended up quitting halfway through because like we fucked them up. Like I hit like 6 threes in a row, and like they're like, "What the fuck happened?" But whatever, that's a side story. So we playing this kid. He's playing at a prep school, and like he thinks he's sick. He's like beating up on these like other kids, and now we end up playing him. And then I remember like I pinned him and I bumped him, and had a layup and just like physically just overpowered him as well as like obviously I was hitting a ton of shots. And he's like, "Yo." Like what I think he said like what D1 do you play or what like where do you play? I'm like, well I played at Medaille University last year, which is D3 in Buffalo, and now I'm going to Elms College, which is a D3 in Massachusetts. And then he's like D3. He's like why don't you just go D1? He's like, and I'm like, I was trying to explain to him like you have no idea the level of how good you have to be to play in college, and he's like, do you think I could go D1? And then I'm like. Well, you have a lot of work. You're young. You still have a lot of work to do. I'm not gonna say you're not gonna go D1, but I'm saying there are other options of basketball that are extremely high level, other than D1.
That was very nice of you. I would have been completely no. Fuck no, you're not going D1.
And I told him to listen to Shipped Across the Border podcast to find out more. Actually,
okay.
Well, promo.
But yeah, back to your main thing. The moment where you had this awareness, where you realized you couldn't go, or maybe you couldn't go D1, but you could still play college basketball. After that moment where you got busted by a D1 guy hitting the lane and dunked it, did you start like rearranging your training and shit to sort of push you in another direction?
Yeah, we started doing more because like my weaknesses got exploited like so fast. I thought I was a great ball handler. I was not. I thought I was pretty strong. I was not. I thought I could finish well. I could not. So we started.
How did you? Yes.
So we started working on more like footwork and counters. So like we would work on one move, come off a screen, and then we would work on when the big man comes up, how to get through the big man, and then help side and work on like passes, coming through baseline, and like working on reads and stuff. So just tweaking that little aspect of like, I'm not gonna be able to dominate at the high level, but being able to make the right play and not fuck up and make the right decision every single time. And make sure like you're always making the right read and you have counters and like becoming unguardable. Kind of like one player that I really tried to model my game after, like especially coming into college, was Chris Paul. Kind of having that like composure, like you see how composed he is. He's always making the right play. You know, if you leave him open, he'll knock it down. But just his patience and his pace, that's something that like I feel like pace is like the most underrated aspect of the game. And that's something that we really worked on because I'm not the fastest. Like I'm short, so I can't make up for it with speed. So just having pace and making sure like working on high, low, like working on your dribble, like slowing down the pattern of your dribble, making sure you have a different pattern. So just small tweaks into working on like really emphasizing like those certain things and just becoming a knockdown shooter.
And now that this might be a little early to ask this question, but you're 2 games in now. Have you had a welcome to college moment yet where you're like, shit, this is fucking different. Like, I was not ready for this.
I can answer that for you in practice because
maybe in practice. Oh yeah. Yes. It was in practice. Oh my god, there was like like 2-3 practices in a row where me and Mike were on different teams.
Yeah.
And Jesus, like I've never like I grew up like as the man, so it's like I never really had to worry about nobody picking my pocket. Like it was only my older brother. I'm like, dude, this guy's fucking in his 20s playing college basketball. Like, why I gotta worry about him picking my pocket? Like nobody my age is gonna do that shit. So we come to practice and I'm trying to set up the play, like run the play, control the offense or whatever. And Mike is just in my shorts, like just in my shit, just reaching.
Pause.
Pause. No homo. But he was just like, again, pause. He was just in my shit, reaching, and picked my pocket, went, got a layup, came down again. I spun off of him, and then he came from behind, like literally like low bro'd me, like came from behind, grabbed it, and went, got another layup. And I was so mad. And that happened for like a good 2-3 practices in a row. And then I was like, it got to the point where he was literally saying like, yo, come on, Jaiden. Like, I know you're better than this, like that type of thing. Like, and then he asked me like to play 1-on-1 full court and that type of thing. Like, just to like help because it was that bad. It was
I don't know if you experienced this, but like being a ball handler and getting picked up by a guy who is way out of your fucking league.
There's a reason why I don't like to dribble, bro.
Yeah, that shit. Like people think being a point guard is
it fucking
sucks for 99% of the time,
especially
bro.
because what coach wants the point guards to be doing. I even had a conversation with Mike about this. It's like we have different actions. We have like 5 or 6 different actions out of a 5 out, 4 1 in. But coach wants the point guard to be able to recognize that if the ball arrives after everyone's set up is one play. If the ball arrives first, it's a different. And there's different situations that happen in the game that result in different plays being run, and coach will stop practice if the point guard chooses the wrong read. So the point guard has to read where people are in, what spots people are in, and run the correct play based on that, while also being pressed full court.
There's a guy who's probably more athletic than him,
actively trying to take the ball away from him.
Exactly, stop you from doing the thing. Like, dude, when we were at Madai, and there's this kid named Demo, and he's 5'11", maybe barely 6 foot, but he's scrappy as all fuck. Like he's like, He's literally Pat Beverly. And first day of practice, we were running this drill, and like practices were so intense, you never want to be the guy that fucked up. So like most people were walking on eggshells for most of the time, but especially the point guards, because you're coming down, you control literally everything that happens because the ball's in your hands. And we were running this drill, and he was picking me up full court, and bro, I swear to God, I turned that shit over fucking 9 times in a row. And coach threw me out of the drill, had a new point guard come in. Like, dude, I fucking hated being a point guard for 9 fucking months. It was ass.
Yeah, bro, like coming in as a freshman, bro, like I'm getting picked up full
That's why
court.
point guards are the toughest people. Point guards are always the toughest guys on the court.
Yeah.
Always.
And I was I'm not really like overthinking when I get picked up full court, because like in high school, I would get picked up full court, I would get face guarded full court, and it was just one move go, slow down, like nobody could really stay in front of me. And then you got someone like Mike, who's stronger, much quicker, like just like guarding me full court. Like I felt like I couldn't dribble. I felt like a fucking kindergartner trying to put the ball on the ground, like trying to get these guys into spots and shit, and like nobody's really getting into their spots, and everyone's like kind of jogging, so I have to sit there and I have to dribble for 10 seconds, and like I'm not trying to like break the play down and drive to the basket, but whatever. But it got to a point where I was like, yo, fuck the play. I need to fucking just blow by this guy and get him off my ass, bro. And I did it. Once I started doing that, like I was fine, and I was able to I was able to run the play. I was more successful doing that, and I've been playing better once I've been able to do that.
Like as a point guard, you do have to have the ability to like punch the guy in the fucking mouth and like burn him a few times. So he's just like, okay, if I keep doing this, it's not going to result in me getting the ball out of this guy's hands.
Yeah. That's I feel like because they know the play. What makes it even worse is they know the play. Like when I got into the Albertus game and into the Springfield game, and I was bringing the ball up, like it was way easier than in practice when guys know I'm trying to run the play. Yeah. And they know, like, oh, he's not going to try to blow by me, so I could just sit there and just reach
There's also,
over and
like,
over again. And then the guy is overplaying the original pass
Also,
every single time, and nobody knows how to make a read to cut back door, and it's robotic.
In practice, coach wants us to keep everybody on the left side of the court, but we run all of our sets from the right side of the court. So it's actively a battle of, like, you have to try and get to the right side of the court while they're actively trying to keep you to the left side of the court.
It's also a battle of, like, Mike has seen you play now for probably, a good month, 2 months, and he knows pretty much everything that you're going to do because he's seen your patterns and the way you like to move. So it's like, you're just an uphill battle the entire time.
So I think that's why we come into a game like yesterday versus Springfield.
Yeah.
And even like Albertus, like, yeah, they beat us, but like if you didn't look at the score and you were just watching the game, it would look a lot more competitive than it actually was. Obviously, they
100%.
out-athletic us and outsized us, and that's kind of where they got the majority of their points on second chance points, offensive rebounds, and stuff like that. But like you could just tell, I feel like we were executing. We were all on the same page way more during the game than we are in practice.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's the whole point of practice, is to make it like harder than it is in the game. Which actually something I was going to bring up. I was talking to Chris, and I was actually talking to my dad about it. He brought this up to me. Going back to the shooting thing, like whatever I missed, like the first shot, I felt like I shot with my eyes closed. I was just like rushing because at the end of the day, like we were talking before, like I just care too much. Because I care too much and I want to do well so badly, I feel like my mind's racing and I'm just rushing. Something my dad suggested, something that I've been doing some research on and actually trying out for the last, like when I was working out yesterday after the game, is just like shooting the ball in practice, or not in practice because practice reps matter. Like coach keeps track of our percentages and like obviously I wouldn't do anything to like fuck that up. But like when I'm working out by myself or we're doing drills that aren't being tracked of, just shooting the ball as fast as I can, like rushing myself. Because if I rush myself and I get to a point where I shoot the ball so fast while I'm by myself, that if I get the ball in practice or I get the ball in game on a shot, it feels like I have so much time and it feels so much slower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw a quote with that on Instagram where Steph Curry actually said that's what it was. It was like if I shoot so fast in practice, the game's gonna feel slow. It's gonna feel slowed down.
Yeah, and that's something I struggle with. Is I feel like everything when I get nervous in the sense of like I just start overthinking because I care so much. I feel like things start to speed up and my mind starts to race and I start to move faster than my body can. So I feel like if I push myself in practice, I don't even want to say practice because I would not be doing that. Like, I'm not going to throw up a shot super fast in a 5-on-5 in practice. But when I'm practicing my shot individually, that if I just, like, get to a point where I'm shooting it so fast that when I get the ball and someone's closing out on me, it's, like, easier than it would be if I'm working out. And I feel like that's the whole point of, like, working out. It's, like, getting so much out of your comfort zone that when you actually do the thing, it's easy. You know what I mean?
I think I might have a guess as to what the answer to this next question is, but yeah. What is your why?
My why?
I can give you we talked about this with pretty much everyone on the podcast. It's like when you're in bed, it's 6 a.m., it's cold out, it's wet, you don't want to get up, you don't want to go hoop. What's the thing that automatically comes to your mind and makes you get out of bed anyway?
My father, for sure. That guy, he makes so many sacrifices for me. Like, it's unbearable. Like, the guy's retired right now, and he's getting up at 6 in the morning every day, working till 9, 11 at night, just to make money. Mind you, he's retired. He could just be chilling at home, but he's making money so I could play basketball in college, just so I can, like, have training sessions and be able to drive, and he'll give me gas money and whatever, like, just so I'm able to have the experience that I want. And it would be fucked up for me to just
squander that.
Yeah, be lazy and like think that I'm entitled enough that be like, oh, like he's supposed to be doing that. He's my father type of thing. Where it's like, he always tells me like one hand washes the other. So if he's gonna wash one hand, like I gotta wash the other, and I gotta put in the hours. I gotta put in the work. I gotta wake up every day. I gotta motivate myself to really like get on that floor. And when he comes to the games, like he has something to watch and he could be proud, and you know what I'm saying, like that type of thing. And like, I mean, I grew up like not hard. Like I didn't have a hard life growing up. Like I don't have anything like any like emotional story of like nothing traumatizing happening or whatever. But like just watching the amount of sacrifices he made, like he was my coach through all of AAU, all the arguments we went through, everything that we've been through together, all the trainings, all the long conversations, late night conversations. Like I just, at the end of the day, like I just want for him to see his son succeed, like that type of thing. And like I want him to be proud. And I want him to feel like all the sacrifices that he made are worth it in the long run. So
that would not have been the guess. I heard you speak. The first time I ever saw you in person actually was when we were doing the Veritas thing where we had to do like open front and speak in front of everybody, and you were talking about God. So I was going to guess that your thing there was going to be God, but I was way off. But I mean,
I was going to say, how the fuck would you know what his why is?
Nah,
I feel like you guys haven't had that much
no,
interaction.
that's what I said. Is like when he was up there talking in front of everybody with a microphone, he was like really like talking about Christianity and God and that kind of stuff. So that was going to lead me into my next question, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Is how do you think faith and being a Christian has sort of helped you in the realm of basketball?
He feel like it gives me hope. It gives me hope, and it takes away the anxiety and the worry that I have, because I know, like, at the end of the day, God has a plan for me. Favorite verse is, like, God has plans to prosper you, just trust in his word, that verse. And, you know, like, whatever I'm going through, like, I may not understand now, but later I will, type of thing. And, you know, just pray every night, and just knowing that I have him on my side, and knowing that, you know, all glory goes to him, and whatever, like it'll get me through each and every day and whatever. And yeah, like all the stress gets away from me, because it's like, okay, maybe I'm not playing today, but what's the lesson that God's trying to teach me from not playing? What's the lesson God's trying to teach me from getting ripped 5-6 times by Mike in practice? Like, why? Like, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Look, it gives you a different perspective on what lesson is God trying to teach me
like, why is this happening for me?
Yes, exactly.
I think we were talking about this in the room and stuff, and we were talking about how, like, those moments where Mike ripped you in practice 5 times. I remember, like, one time he gave you, like, a jab and then just had a wide open layup, or, like, it's like, that's what I was referring to before. It's like you had, like, 2 or 3 practices where it was just, like you were struggling. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, because you're similar to me, similar to how Chris was when he was hooping, and similar to a lot of hoopers, like, you have bad practice, like, your move's fucked up for the rest of the day, because, like, that's where you find happiness in, that's where you find self-worth and a purpose. And those moments where that is diminished and you don't get as much playing time as you want to, or in your example of me, you get some opportunity, you don't make the shots that you'd hope to make, and you find yourself in that, I call it in the hole of, like, when you feel like you hit rock bottom and you feel like you're just like, fuck. Like, those moments are, like, powerful in the sense of that's where the most learning happens, and that's where, like, the change happens. And Chris you always say, like, there has to be something so drastic to make you uncomfortable enough to make a change. What was like,
well,
that?
I was going to go to this because I think when I said this to you, it kind of helped when you were like freaking the fuck out in the room. You're like, bro, I can't believe this happened. All this shit happened. And I said, okay, so in life, there's 2 games. There's finite games and there's infinite games.
I want to talk about that, but what was the quote you were saying first? Like, where you say, like, I fucking lost. Whatever. Okay, go into that. I just lost that.
Basically, in life, there's two games. There's finite games and there's infinite games. And there's certain games. So like basketball, health, marriage, certain things. These games, the goal of that game is simply to be in the game. Like you don't win the game of health. You just stay healthy. Like you got fit. Now you're same with when I said this to Mac. It's like basketball. You don't win basketball. The goal of basketball is to simply play basketball for as long as you can until your body breaks down. So every day that you're still playing basketball is a win. And it resets. You're like, my goal was to score 30 points. It's like, yeah, that's cool.
The goalpost always moves.
Huh?
The goalpost always.
Yeah, the goalpost is always going to move, and those goals are always going to move. But the consistent thing has to be is like, I woke up today and I have the opportunity to play basketball. That's the win.
That's a win.
That's the win that you're going to get every single time, and that just sort of resets your standard. And another thing you were saying there is like, this is something I found that's so nice to lean on when you're just in the shit and you're just getting hit with that left hook, and you have the 10-second count. You got to get back up. Is like, it's supposed to feel like shit. You're in college basketball. You wanted this thing, and now it's like, do you just want to pay the price tag to get the thing that you wanted? You wanted to play college basketball. You knew that it was going to be hard. This is what it feels like to play college basketball. And it's like, just knowing that where you are right now is how it's supposed to feel is just such a nice thing to lean on, because you're like, old me can't even comprehend the fucking shit that I'm going through right now. But I knew it was going to be hard, and that's what I should have expected, and that's where I am right now.
I agree. I think what I was saying before is like when you're in the shit and when you like whatever. For example, how I was feeling after that first game where I just felt like I lost, like I got an opportunity and I shit the bed. Is like those moments where like you feel like you're at rock bottom, or like where the most learning happens and where like that change in direction happens that sets you off for the goal to achieve. You know what I mean? Like you can't really like, for example, if I come in versus Alberta, let's say I hit 2 threes, and I'm like, I'm happy, whatever. Coach is happy, whatever. I might not move like up as much in the rotation, for example, as if, for example, I can't fucking put the ball in the ocean, but then I take a step back and realize like, okay, well, a guy like Pat was put in. I see Pat in the gym the most out of anybody on the team. He's there at 7 in the morning, every single morning, 5 days a week, and when he got that opportunity, he made those shots. And now I look at myself, and I'm like, I'm a very hard worker, but I feel like throughout the start of the season, my body just couldn't really handle. Like, or I was just so sore, like my knees were hurting, whatever, and I just was not. I don't want to say being lazy, but just like I was like, I'm doing fine in practice. I'm making shots in practice. I'm shooting X percentage. I could take this off from my body or talk about whatever. But it's like now it's like, okay, well, as I progress in the season, it becomes like practice. Obviously, is now a consistent thing 6 days a week, and my body gets used to it. I need to start leveling up again and pushing myself a little bit harder. And I made a plan. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to Berks every day from 9 to 10 when we have earlier practices, and we have later practices. I'm going to go and work out or lift before, like after class, and kind of like get that extra work in. And now that could result me in being in a better position at the end of the year than if I just made a few shots in these scrimmages and now I don't change my routine because I think I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like you have to hit rock bottom before you can really like improve and really work on yourself. And like, if you're too comfortable, you get lazy and you get complacent.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, I feel like I know I hit rock bottom. I feel like I hit rock bottom at the perfect time. Very first day I move in, like a week before I move in, like my girlfriend had broke up with me. I had gotten fired from my job. Very first day I freaking dudes are trying to fight me and pick up.
And you find out there's like fucking
I find out there's 40
competing
dudes.
for
I sprained my thumb before the run even happened. I got picked last. I had a shitty run. I remember in my dorm crying like, why is this happening to me? Like, what the fuck do I even do? Like, I lost everything. And, you know, I woke up the next day and I kind of changed my perspective. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed to be in this position. I'm at a university. I'm at a Catholic college right now. Like, not many people would die to be in my position right now. Mm-hmm. So the opportunity that I have, I can't let it go to waste. I need to seize this opportunity. I need to put in the work, and I need to pick myself up, because all I got is me. And, you know, you got to be able to love yourself before you really want the great things in life. So, you know, I started putting in the work. I started working out 2-3 times a day before runs. You know, just putting in the hours, putting in the work consistently, making sure I'm on top of my schoolwork. And like now, like I made the team as a freshman. I'm getting minutes as a freshman, working 2 jobs. I have the highest GPA I've ever had. It's like a 3.2 or something like that. Like, I know to some people that's not that high, but to me, like, 3.2, like, I'm really busting my ass. I'm putting in the hours or whatever. And I feel like I'm in a very good spot. And if I feel like if I didn't hit rock bottom
For sure.
on that first day, I wouldn't be here. I would just be complacent, and maybe I wouldn't make the team because I wouldn't have been motivated.
It installed that drive in you.
Exactly, and it created that chip on my shoulder, and that I was talking about earlier.
I feel like it always happens at the right time. I believe in God heavily,
God's
and I believe
timing.
in everything happens for a reason. But I think that it does happen for I feel like those moments of where you hit rock bottom. I don't want to say hit rock bottom because there are some people who really, really hit rock bottom, and what we're experiencing.
I really don't think there ever is an actual rock bottom because you can always fucking
you
go
can
lower.
always go get lower.
You have
but
you have limbs and you have food. That's
exactly. But so I want to say that with a grain of salt because obviously I recognize the privilege of even being here. But you're talking about metaphorical rock bottom and in your head how much work it's gonna get, and those positions where you're feeling like shit are the positions where you have to take a step back and reflect and be like, what can I change? And honestly, those positions, it's like taking a step back to take 2 steps forward as opposed to just moving down the line. You know what I mean? And I definitely feel like for you, the same thing for me is me playing like shit, the more and even one of the best parts of having this podcast is I'm going to feel better about what happened this weekend after the podcast because I can verbalize what I'm thinking. And then I can make a plan going forward. And I definitely feel like I feel like I'm on a different trajectory because I hit rock bottom. And now I feel like with the plan that I have, and I know I'm the type of person to implement that plan and do it consistently, because I always have and I always will, is just way more of an upward trajectory than if I played decently in that scrimmage and I don't have those pivotal realization moments, and now I'm just moving straight, and then maybe I'm in a position where I'm content with, but I could be in a position that's way more meant for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And it's because you know what that feeling is like, and you know how shitty that feeling is, and it's almost like when you're working out and you feel like you want to give up, it's like
that feeling keeps you going.
It's like I never want to have that feeling ever again, and I never want to let myself down ever again. So I'm gonna put in the work and have this painful feeling of maybe not being able to shoot because my tricep is on fire, or my shoulder's on fire, but keep shooting and keep going at it throughout the whole workout and pushing through that painful feeling that. It's about what painful feeling you prefer. Would you rather prefer the painful feeling when you're lifting weights or you're tired, or would you rather prefer the feeling of not being able to play? You pick and choose your battles, and I'd much rather have that painful feeling of when I'm working out, knowing I'm busting ass, knowing I'm putting in the hours, and waking up the next day sore shit, but keep pushing every single day.
Before we move on, I think I remember the quote you tried to get me to say. Is it the pain? People only change when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of changing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So people won't. Most people, and this is most fucking people, will not move unless it's so painful to stay where you are that you are forced to make that change.
That's exactly what I was talking about. And let's just say, hypothetical or whatever, I hit some shots during the whatever, and now I'm staying on that same trajectory as on before, and maybe I'm not getting the playing time that I want, but it's not bad enough to me to change anything, and I'm just kind of complacent, I guess, and I'm just going through them whatever. But now that I have a new chip on my shoulder and I have something to prove, because I definitely was knocked down a few pedals in that rotation, and now I'm fighting upwards battles to get to the point where I want to be at. Now my trajectory I feel is way higher than what it was before, but I'm also gonna get way better because now I have a new plan to put in the work in a different put in more work and rearrange my schedule to allow me to put in more work and more hours, because we were talking before is the only way, realistically, if there are people ahead of me and we both go to practice for 2 hours, they're going to stay ahead of me. The only way for me to jump that is to put in more
twice
work.
as much work.
Yeah.
But so we just kind of went into goals a little bit, but I do want to know, at the end of your 4 years, what trajectory are you looking at? What would you be okay with after this 4 years is over? What would you want to have in your corner?
I want to have I definitely, I don't have any plans on, playing overseas or, taking it to the next level after this. But I definitely want to coach. I want to solidify myself as, a great player here. I want my name to be remembered. Like a guy like TC, his name's going to be remembered. His name's going to be in the rafters. And, I want a part of me, a piece of me to be left in this gym forever. I already did it in high school, and now I want to do it here, and I want to leave a piece of me, and I want to leave, you know, a part of me here that people can remember me forever.
I mean, that's really all I got right now, unless you want to ask the last question.
We can. I'm trying to think of what else I want to ask. I feel like I have a few more things I want to say, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like we can go a little bit more in depth about some stuff. But I can ask the question and we can think about stuff. Well,
I have one more thing about like this is like somewhat complicated outside of my realm of speaking, and I've heard this a few times on podcasts, but like how being in a worse situation can actually be better for you, where it's like if there's this theory called like, I forget what it's called, but it's like if you were to go only a mile, you would walk it, and if you were to go farther than a mile, you would drive. And basically it's like saying, so if you're in like a marriage and it's like it's not great or whatever, like your husband hits you or whatever, but it's not bad enough for you to get a divorce, it would actually be better for you if he was
fucking try to kill you and now you leave.
And now you have to leave. It's the same situation with basketball. It's like you were in that situation where you're a freshman, you're coming in, it's like all this stuff, but then all of this shit happened to you and you were forced to move because it was so bad.
And now you're in a better position. That's what I was like saying before. Yeah, we can ask the last question. So, what's like one piece of advice you would kind of like give to your younger self, or maybe younger brother who's trying to play college basketball? And obviously, you've been a college basketball player for like 3 weeks, or like real for like 3 weeks. So obviously, your, I guess, area of expertise and a piece of advice would be different than when you've been here for 4 years and you started your whatever and all. You have all these accolades, but from what you've experienced for the first 3 years, and obviously you're doing something right to have made it to this part, and not only, I guess, committed to play college, but actually there's a bunch of people who committed who did not make the team. So now now you're a college basketball player. You made the team. You have a jersey. So what would you kind of tell your younger self or little bro who's trying to play in college?
Yeah, there's two things I would tell my younger self. Never stop having fun. At the end of the day, it's a sport. I see a lot of guys, like lose confidence, like get discouraged by the sport because they're not having fun. No matter what circumstances, like you make it however you perceive it. And you see me in practice, like I'm always smiling. I'm always picking guys up. I'm always cracking jokes. Like I'm always, being like the topic of laughter or whatever. Like me and Tay, like we're always cracking jokes or whatever. And that makes basketball fun to me. And that makes like it takes away the seriousness of basketball, because I feel like people take it so serious that it fucks them over. And it gets to the point where it's like it starts to feel like a job for them. And like at the end of the day, like if you love something, you gotta have fun with it. Like nobody loves a job. When people say they love their job, they say they love their job because it doesn't feel like a job. So if you make basketball feel like a job, you're never gonna fall in love with it. You're never gonna have fun with it. So you gotta keep having fun with basketball and make it how you perceive it. And another thing that advice I would give to my younger self is to never lose that chip on your shoulder. I feel like that's gotten me through so much. Like people have doubted me so much. Like it doesn't matter what the fuck I do, there's always someone out there doubting me. Like I literally got 1,000 points, and like I think 2 games after, a crowd's chanting "overrated" at my name. So it's like no matter what the fuck you do, like there's people are always gonna doubt you, and you always got to carry that chip on your shoulder. Be satisfied, but never get too satisfied with the results that you're getting, because there's someone out there doubting you. There's someone out there working harder than you, and you need to keep going at it. You need to keep pushing. I feel like one thing that really that keeps that chip on my shoulder, and I feel like it's never gonna leave, is the fact that my brother was here before me, and coaches like to compare me to my brother a lot, and they like to treat my brother like he was better than I was, and I feel like that's like, yo, fuck these guys. Like my brother is not, in my opinion, like me and him could argue, and he might be hearing this, but I think I'm better than what my brother was as a freshman. You know what I'm saying? And like I want to prove it, and I want to go out there and be like, yo, like I'm better than this motherfucker. Like you guys need to give me the same respect that you gave this dude. And like just having that chip on your shoulder, like when people doubt you. I can't name one time someone's doubted me and they've been right. Guys said I was gonna be a practice player. Guys said like I would be bottom of the barrel in the rotation, and I just continue to keep proving myself, continue to keep that chip on my shoulder, and my biggest advice is fuck them.
Fuck 'em.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
So let's end it on
Fuck
that.
'em.
Thank you for coming on, my boy.
Appreciate you for having me, man.
To you.